So, tonight is Wednesday night, November the 20th. This is Management 3025. And we are 2 weeks from the exam, right?
Yes.
A week from tonight is what?
The night before
The
Thanksgiving.
night before Thanksgiving. At which point everything stops, right? So 2 weeks from tonight's the exam. This is our only chance really to get together as a group. We're going to go over the calculation elements on the exam and then open it up for anything else you want to discuss. We've talked about a couple of different questions from the multiple choice area, and those take some very careful reading, particularly reading the definitions in the book and matching them to the description that's in the question. Do you have anything of a general nature, anybody, that you'd like to talk about before we begin? Boring lives of quiet desperation.
Same thing, big sheet for the test.
Say again?
Same big
Yeah,
one.
you need a Scantron answer sheet for the exam, just like last time. Notebook, paper, pen, pencil, calculator. I would suggest a clean conscience, but I know a couple of you all now, and I'm pretty sure that's not a possibility. Okay? All right.
Do you have any ideas, inklings, when you're going to call for the writing assignments?
We're going to call for the writing assignments either tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So that way, if we don't, you'll really get panic stricken. No, I intended, we were just chatting about that. We think we're going to get them in there pretty quick.
As soon as you're caught up with all the DCs, right?
This man's a hero. I had a few issues this week, and he's picked up the slack for me, and I appreciate it. All right, anything else? We're going on the road together. It's a show. All right, the first thing we'll pick up then is time value of money. We did these for the midterm, and many people did very well, and in that sense this will be somewhat of a review. Time value of money. Time value of money, let's do the big one, what I call the retirement problem. Because there's almost always one of these on every exam. So we're going to take, Susan is 26 years old. She wants to retire at age 66. Her life expectancy is 83. The appropriate discount rate or interest rate to use in this calculation is 4.5%. We want to determine how much does she need to start saving each month, beginning now, in order to retire from this little retirement program part here with $2,500 per month. That's her goal. That when she turns 66, this retirement package she's putting together will pay her $2,500 a month until she reaches 83. So we've got to work this backwards. Our first question is, if she retires at 66 and lives till 83, then she's going to need 17 years of payments of $2,500 a month. Since it's 17 years but it's being paid monthly, what's 12 times 17? I don't know. 204? She's going to want 204 payments beginning at age 66. 204 payments of $2,500 a month. So that's what on our calculator? That's in the number of payments. We know the amount she wants to receive is $2,500, so that's the payment. We know that the discount, or the interest rate that she's going to apply here is 4.5%, but what? That's an annual interest rate. She's going to be doing this on a monthly basis, so we're going to divide that by 12 to get our interest factor. Now, how you put the data in the calculator is important. You can really screw it up, or you can make it easier. What are we going to be calculating for?
How much you need to save each month to come up with 25?
You know, before we get how much she needs to save each month, what are we calculating here? This is important conceptually. Here she is age 26. Here she is age
The
66.
future value.
Here she is 83. It's instinctively you want to say future value because that's what she's going to need at age 66. But we're looking at it from this time perspective. So what we're going to calculate is the present value, meaning the amount of money she has to have in the bank the day she turns 66 and retires. And that's present value for her at that time. How much do I need to have? So as we put this in the calculator, what's the first step?
Clear.
Clear the darn thing. Clear TVM. 204. Press N, and it should display N equals 204. 2,500. And then what? I'm going to change it to a negative. Because either the payment or the present value has got to be a negative number. I'm going to just make this one a negative. So down on the bottom right, plus or minus, I just change sign. Then I'm going to press something, payment. And then I'm going to take, and this is where you want to be careful too, I'm going to do the math here. 4.5 divided by 12 equals, and it should say something like 0.0375, and then I'm going to push I/Y. If that wasn't rounded off smooth, it was a 0.666666, the calculator would carry that forward into the IY button when I pushed it. And then what am I going to do? Compute present value. And the present value that we've computed looks like $355,999 and about 86 cents. Anybody else confirm that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the amount of money she needs when she gets to be 66. So we started the calculation saying, gee, when I'm 66, what's got to happen? Well, that's got to happen. You got to have that much money. Now we say, well, you're 26 now. And that's what you've got to accumulate. So we take that same number. I'm going to make it a negative because it's got to be, one or the other has got to be a negative. And what value is that now? That's the future value from age 26 she's got to accumulate. She's got 26 to 66 is 40 years. And she's going to be making monthly payments, so the 12 times a year. So we got 480 for N. The interest is still the same. Whoops. 4.5 divided by 12 equals, and whatever that result is, enter it. So let me get caught up to myself.
Make sure you're clear.
Yes, ma'am. My problem is with this phone app, every time you press the button, it doesn't always respond.
It's an iPhone problem, probably.
You don't have that problem with Android?
Because there's no such
I don't
app
have
for
a
it.
problem though, but
Did I tell you my iPhone story?
no.
Oh, we're coming back to that. Just a minute.
That didn't look good.
Yeah. It's called, financial calculator, that's it.
What am I computing?
Does that have a name?
What am I computing in this calculator?
Payment.
The payment, good.
Okay. I'll try to find it again. Okay, thank you.
I hit the wrong button.
Business.
How about $264 and we'll call it $265.
I got 264.
I got 265.
You got what?
265.4436.
265.44. I got 264.996.
I got 265.
Okay, same as she did.
44.
Okay. If you got within $1 of 265, you're in good shape. Okay? You want to practice that. And change the numbers, change the concept, but practice that. Now 260, I got 264.99 and they got 265.42 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Come in, come in. There you go. Apple story. iPhone story. Last week on Friday, picked my iPhone up, it was dead. Pressed every button, nothing. Plugged it in the charger, nothing. Cussed for a little while, plugged in the charger, nothing. Thoroughly disgusted. But we were going down towards Archer Road anyway, so I went down to Best Buy where I bought it. Got it and waited for 35 minutes, waiting there. You know, if you've ever been in the military, it's like being on sick call again. You just sit there like a bump on a log. Finally get up there, and the guy looks at it and looks up the purchase and says, I see you bought that iPhone about a year ago. I said, you sure did. He says, in fact, you bought it 1 year and 1 day ago. It's out of warranty.
Because you bought it at Best Buy. Because you bought it at Best Buy.
Did you buy the warranty package? No. Well, the only thing I can suggest is you can take it over to Retech, a little small company, and they can tear it apart and put a new battery in it, so it'll probably cost you $100 to $200. The other alternative is you have to buy a new iPhone because we can't get it to come on either. Did you know there's an Apple store in Gainesville? How many of you knew there's an Apple store in Gainesville? The rest didn't. It's called Gator Tech. The original one is located in the town of Tioga, out Newberry Road by the West End Golf Course, across the street. And he's just opened a new branch store on Archer Road. If you stood in front of Best Buy and walked out to Archer Road, it'd be just about there. The fellow that owns Gator Tech was a student of mine. He's a good friend of mine. Does marriages on the side. Married my wife and I 7 years ago. I called him up. I said, Jimmy, my phone don't work. He said, I want you to do something. He says, I want you to press the power button up here and press the button down here and count to 20.
Are you kidding?
At the number 8, boom, it came on.
Yeah,
Okay? So, I still love my iPhone. I still love Apple. I particularly love Jimmy Dufek.
don't like it.
And I ain't going back to the Geek Squad for nothing. I'm sure they do good work on some things, but not here. I'm not touching that again. That's my Apple story. Now let's tie it to business. Show you something.
I knew exactly where I was going. As soon as you said it wouldn't come on, I was
Sure.
like, oh, you can hold the two buttons and it's fixed.
You know how many people know that?
Probably a very small amount.
Well, certainly not the Geek Squad.
Well, all of us now.
It's usually when it freezes, you do that to a hard shutdown.
Yeah, they call it a hard restart.
Well,
Life.
if it restarted, just shut off.
This is an extra little lesson here. The lifetime value of a customer.
Oh, yeah.
If you have one unhappy customer, how many people does he probably tell about his bad experience?
Say 8.
I'm going to be very conservative and say 3. Is he going to tell them the truth?
No.
Why?
Does he make upset?
Because it's much more fun to exaggerate it a little bit. I should have told you I sat there for 2 hours before I got to talk to him. I should have told you they were going to charge me $900 for a battery, right? They tend to exaggerate. Each of those three people sitting around with some friends over a cold beer, how many will they tell that story to? Just two. They'll tell it to two more each. How much of the truth will they tell? They'll start with the basic truth and exaggerate it even further, which by now, in this retelling of the story, the person walked into the store and got mugged by the service desk, right? And each one of these will probably, in a drunken stupor, tell one more person, at which time it is a totally exaggerated lie, but it's terrible. This is my rough rule of thumb, that when you offend one customer who goes out the door unhappy, you lose 16 total potential customers. You with me so far on that? How many people have I told about this? And it ain't 3. I've told every class I teach. It gets better. Some of you know my friend John Spence. John is a very well-known author, speaker, consultant. John tells this story. At one time he would go down to the shopping center where there was a bagel shop. And he would go in to buy breakfast, but he would drop off his dry cleaning next door and his laundry next door, and eat breakfast. He had a great relationship with everybody. But he came in one day on a Monday morning, stopped in to pick up his dry cleaning because he had to fly out of town Tuesday morning, and he's traveling all the time. And he says, "I'm here to pick up my dry cleaning." And they said, "Oh, it's not here. It won't be here until tomorrow afternoon." He said, "Well, that's not going to work. Go get it." "But we can't go get it. You'll just have to wait till Tuesday." He says, "I can't afford to wait till Tuesday." I said, "Well, we don't have any other choice. That's all it is. You know, it's Tuesday or nothing." So John went home and he wrote him a letter. And he said, I want you to understand that I come in here and eat breakfast almost every day. And I drop off all of my dry cleaning. And I do a lot of traveling. It's a lot of dry cleaning. He says, I figure I spend at least $50 a week in your dry cleaning store. And I figure I come in, let's say 40 weeks a year. So I spend $2,000 a year in your business. You got that? Because of my very unhappy experience, I'm never coming back. And if you take that over 5 years, because I don't forget, I'm going to take $10,000 worth of your revenue away from you over the next 10 years. And I'm going to tell everybody in Gainesville that I know about my experience with you. And I figure I've got at least 250 people I know in Gainesville very well. John's got a hell of a network. He says, I figure if only 50 of them stop doing business with you, because a lot of them live in this area, he says, you can multiply that times 50. And my goal is over the next 5 years to cost you $500,000 in sales. And then he took a copy of the letter to the bagel shop owner and to the laundry owner and said, I love you very much, but I'm never coming back. Because it's just not convenient to eat breakfast here, do my laundry here, and then have to go somewhere else for my dry cleaning. I found another place that's got dry cleaning, laundry, and breakfast, and I'll be going over there in the future. What would you say?
I'll be right back. Let's talk to the boyfriend.
If you had the laundry, and you, honest to God, couldn't find his clothes. The clothes go to Lake City, and you can't find them. You spend all day looking for it. And by 2 o'clock, you know you can't get them back. What would you do?
Reimburse them.
Buy-
Or give them
buy
a gift
new
card
clothes.
or something.
What else?
Buy him new
Give
clothes.
them a gift card to a store.
I would order clothes from the store and have them delivered within the hour.
Yes, ma'am. I would say, Mr. Spence, name the store you want to shop at. Go down there, have them call me when you're done. I'll pay the bill. I'll buy you a new suit, 2 new shirts, if you got shoes, socks, whatever else, tie. And if it costs me $500, what?
Well worth it.
That's pretty cheap. And even if this is an exaggeration, cut that down as much as you want. To send him or let him go out the door unhappy like that, there's only one word for it, and we use it in economics. Stupid. That's what lifetime value of a customer is all about.
You gain customers by doing that too, automatically.
Damn right you do. An unhappy customer is one of the best opportunities you'll ever have. Okay. So much for my iPhone story. I think I've milked that pretty dry now. I told every damn body I know.
You know the saddest thing?
What?
Is that whenever I worked there, if you'd come in, it would have been 10 minutes. I could have.
At the Geek Squad?
No, I didn't work at the Geek Squad. I worked right in the mobile phone department. I worked in computers. If you get the right person.
When I
you're
bought the phone,
fine.
it was a wonderful experience. The guy squared me away, loaded it up, everything. Boom.
It's
Put
the
it in a
quality.
case.
The quality control is really poor.
Yeah.
And you have to really. If you fail on in your business, if you fail on one associate, you might as well have failed on them all.
Yep. Yes, ma'am?
He never suggested that you go get a warranty, that you get another Apple warranty or anything, the Apple Care.
That was the sum total of their suggestion. Try to get the battery replaced or buy a new phone. Okay. Yes, ma'am?
If you had talked to the head of Geek Squad,
Mhm.
there's a 50-50 shot they would have just given you a new phone.
Could well have been. I'm an S personality. I don't particularly like fighting with people. I'll just go tell everybody I know because I carry a long-term grudge.
I'm the same way. I understand.
If any of you have been in Gainesville long enough, there used to be a place called Steak and Pasta
Oh,
up
I
on
love that
13th and
place.
39th.
And the best
I got served cold, burnt food there one time, and I talked about them. Well, just like this to every class I could. They're gone. If you know 43rd Street, up on Northwest 43rd Street, there's a Cedar River.
Yes.
Used to be a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Walked in there one day and said, I'd like one of your mini pizzas for $1.50, and how about put some mushrooms on it and I'll pay you for it. Oh, we can't do that. If you buy the pizza, it's just a, pepperoni pizza. We don't put anything on it. I'll pay you for the mushrooms. No, we can't do that. They're gone. That's the way the market works. It's called free markets. The only way free markets work is when consumers are informed, when they talk to each other about what's going on. That's why Facebook and social media have been so powerful in restoring some power back to the consumers. And if you're the kind of business who trades on consumer ignorance, people who don't know any better, and so you take advantage of them, watch out, because it'll come back and bite you in the butt. But you're right. When you take an unhappy consumer, somebody's having a tough time, you educate him, and you treat him right. You overdo compensating for him. You won't just get a loyal customer. You'll get more positive stories coming out of that than you can imagine. That's why I made sure I mentioned Gator Tech and Jim Dufek. All right. Other calculations on the time value of money. A common one is setting up any kind of a loan or a mortgage. And the rule with loans and mortgages is that the loan amount is the present value. Everything else is the same. Figure out the interest rate, and it's probably going to be monthly, so you take the annual interest rate, divide by 12. You take, if it's a 3-year loan, you got to pay it monthly. 3 to 12 is your number of payments. And then what do you calculate? How much is my payment each month? So I want to take out a $70,000 mortgage, and I think I can get it, commercial property for me, it'll be a rental unit, let's say 4.2% mortgage, and I'm going to take it for 15 years. By the way, that happens to be just exactly one of the investment opportunities I'm looking at right now. There's a lot of condos out there that are being foreclosed on. Good time to buy if you can afford it. How much would my mortgage payment be? Clear it first. What are you nagging at me?
What's the 3 times 12 again? For the end?
This is the N. If N was 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, 4.2. 15 years.
I got just shy of.
Mine's not working.
I got just shy of 525, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
That's what I got.
I got 524.
I got 524.82. So
Yep. Or would you round that to 83? I got,
I don't care.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Check your numbers and let me know if that's okay. A nod is appreciated. A negative shake of the head means let's talk about it. That doesn't mean a damn thing.
I'm putting in the interest rate and I'm not getting anything out of it.
Okay? For the interest rate, you're gonna go 4.2 divided by 12 equals, and whatever number is up, just push IY.
350.
That's 2482.
Is there a way to calculate at any particular point how much is going to interest and how much is going to principal?
Absolutely, and this calculator will do it, but I don't want to show it to you because there's too much stuff for everybody to try to remember right now. If you, for example, you have the same calculator. If you don't have the book anymore, you can go to the internet and download the operator's manual, and it'll show you how to set that thing up to run an entire amortization schedule. For every payment, how much is principal, how much is interest, and you can see that. Oh, that's something else I can share with you.
Do it myself.
Last Saturday, I paid off my house.
Oh, awesome.
Life's good.
Where's your condo?
I have two over in Timberway, and that's where I'm looking right now.
What are the HOA fees?
120 a month.
A month.
That's what I wanted to do next. This condo is not in Timberway. This is, I think, down in Hale.
Why
That's
would
where I
it
went.
be 524.83?
Don't worry about it. Calculators round subtly different depending on how you put the data in. Here's my question. Yeah, go on, Jeremy.
I was just gonna say that, that because of all these calculations we were doing, I was looking at my car and I had about it's 78,000 miles and another 120,000 miles I have to replace it, right? At the rate I've had it, I could probably keep another 6 or 7 years. Thinking that why would I, at the end of 6 or 7 years, get a car and have interest working against me? Whereas since I already have the car paid off, I can just make a car payment for 5 years into a savings account and have the interest work for me,
Absolutely.
and then buy the car outright.
Absolutely right.
It's the same
You're
basic idea.
You're taking a risk that A, you won't have mechanical difficulties and repairs that take away that savings, and B, even if you do have some minor mechanical difficulties, are you willing to suffer that inconvenience? And I can tell you, as you get older, you're not willing to suffer those inconveniences.
Well, as you get older, your income should be going up as well.
Oh, you damn right. I couldn't afford to teach at Santa Fe if I wasn't independently wealthy.
That's my goal, is to be independent.
Yeah, mine was too.
I
I'll
work
do
out.
it. I'm teaching nights, come on. Okay, think about this. Suppose I could rent this condo for $1,000 a month.
Done.
And suppose the homeowner fees are $120 a month, homeowner association. What else would I have to be paying?
Taxes. insurance.
Taxes, let's say the taxes are gonna be, $120 a month.
Electric?
No, I don't pay electric, that's for
Insurance.
insurance, and that gets to be interesting. If it's a condo and
Shared wall.
shared walls, typically the homeowners association insures everything external. So how much internal damage is going to occur that you want to have insurance for? And for me, virtually none.
Get a deposit.
Well, deposit, plus either I can fix most of the stuff that'll go wrong inside, or I got a couple of good friends that work pretty cheap.
You gotta protect against flooding your neighbors too.
Yeah, absolutely, there would be some liability insurance somewhere along the way. Okay, and insurance, I don't know,
50 a month.
50? Okay. So how much is my monthly cost? Five, six, seven. How many?
814.83.
814. Let's call it 814 for easy figuring. Would that be a good investment?
Getting money.
Well, my net cash flow is going to be what? $186 a month. Right?
Assuming you have it rented 100.
Assuming I have it rented. Let's assume 100% rental for just a minute. If I have it rented all year and making 186, how much money am I making on that? What's 12 times 186?
About 24.
No, ain't no bouts now. This is my money.
$2,232.
2,232. I'm making 2232 a year on a $70,000 investment. How much of a return is that? 2232 over 70,000. What kind of return is that? Return on investment?
About 3%.
How many?
3%.
3%?
But in 15 years, you have your original investment back, if the market doesn't go down.
Yeah. We'll go in there in a minute.
Okay.
Is a 3% return today a good return?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Relative to what you can get in the bank,
yes.
it's a little better. But this is a hell of a lot more risky than putting money in a bank. Because the first month I don't have anybody renting it, Strickland's paying that homeowners association out of his beer fund. That's getting serious. Okay? Now, would you do this if you had the money?
No,
No?
I would
Yeah.
personally.
Some will, some won't. We all have different risk preference. Okay? My goal would be to not need the cash flow at all, and at the very least to pay that $186 a month, pay that extra against the loan. And I could get the calculator out and do this. But let's say I could pay the loan off in 10 years instead of 15. When I get the loan paid off, what kind of return will this make for me?
100%.
No.
Everything you, well, yeah. Cause
What'll I be making? I'll be making 1,000 in rent.
240.
I still got to subtract the homeowners. I got to subtract the insurance and the other stuff, the 50. So what's that? 240, 290,
610. Is that right?
710? Is that right? What's $710 a month on a $70,000 investment? What's that return?
%.
12%. Is that a good return?
Yes.
Is that my only return on this property?
No, you have asset.
Well, two things are going to go on. One is, and if you, how many of you have had accounting? Okay, what is depreciation?
Loss of value.
It's the loss in value over time or through use, okay? I would be claiming depreciation on this thing every year and using that so that my taxable income would be reduced. What about the value of that condo? Is it going to go up every year?
Yeah. Potentially.
Not if you bought it 5 years ago, it didn't.
Yeah.
It just went down. I got a condo over in Timberway that I bought 9 years ago for $52,000. I sold it 3 years later for $103,000. It's back on the market again for $70,000. That's how prices have changed so much recently. But 12% return plus the increase in the value of the condo over time, that's not too bad. How's my cash flow?
Excellent.
I got $710 to put in the Roger Strickland Welfare Fund. Now, if I had 5 of those condos, I could pay my bar bill. Yeah. Do you follow my math on this stuff? You following the logic? Okay. I don't know, however old you are, if you're not doing something to prepare for the future, and putting your money in the bank these days is a horrible way to prepare for the future. It's not earning you any interest. I've had a lot of conversations with some folks lately. The stock market, the Dow hit 16,000. Stock prices are way the hell up here. Why? Mostly because nobody knows where to put their money. Where else can I put it and earn anything? And so prices have been way up. I personally think those prices are a little high. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling some money out of there and I'm going around looking for some more real estate. If you would start that now, see if I'd started this 30 years ago, oh damn, I would be independently wealthy. If you start now, anytime, one house, small scale, go into partners with somebody.
Why,
I'm sorry?
okay, never mind. I was gonna say, why, what about just land?
To me, raw land is very speculative.
You can't, you can save money on it.
Well, you're not getting it a monthly income because you don't have a renter.
It's not income generating, and land prices vary a lot with conditions which change.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying real estate or rentals is the best way to invest your money, but for me, right now in this market, I think that's worth worth putting some money there. They've been very good to me in the past. Now, why am I talking about this in a management class?
Because you're managing your life.
I'm managing my family, my money, my resources, my future. And it's the common parlance of business. Whether it's government, nonprofit, or for-profit business, these terms, these concepts, these calculations should be just, yeah, we all do that. We all follow that. Why am I talking about the stock market and the economy and maybe unemployment rates and inflation rates?
So it affects business.
They affect everything about us, your life personally and mine, as well as the business we own. And so as you're going through this program, one of my regrets about this program is you don't have to take macroeconomics. I'm trying to fix that.
What if you've already had that?
Then you ought to understand everything I'm saying. But I think as a, quote, manager, you've got to be aware of what's going on. You've got to be able to speak several different languages. The languages of finance, of taxes, of inflation, of risk.
Stuff like that also helps you mentor your employees.
Absolutely right. Because a lot of employees don't even know how to make a budget up, much less follow it. Yeah. Okay, I'll get off this.
Right, that last calculation you did, the 710 divided by 70,000, I'm not getting 12%.
It's coming out to about 10.1%.
10.1? Is that better? Is that what you're getting? Okay,
I mean, that's 710 divided.
I'll still take 10.1.
Yeah, 70.
I was checking to see if I was doing something wrong.
Nope.
I still get 12. How are you doing that? 710 times
Divided by
12
70,000.
times 12?
Divide 71 divided by 70. What do you get?
71 divided by 70.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you take that 710 times 12 and get your yearly and then divide it by 70?
Oh, thank you. That's what you're right.
That's 12%.
710 times 12 annual. Thank you. I said that, but I didn't write it on the
That's a
board.
monthly.
Thank you.
There you go. That's,
You're welcome.
Okay, hell, maybe we can get it up to about 15%.
Yeah, let's go. Keep going.
All right. So I guess part of what I'm preaching at you is when you get into the finance course and the accounting course and the law course, pay attention. All that stuff's relevant. All right, time value of money. Any thoughts from you? Questions? Do you remember any of the problems you might have looked at? Anything you want to do there?
I don't know why, but my calculator's not working right. The last one that we did, I came out with like $1,900.
Press every
You
button
didn't
on it,
clear
hold
your
it for
TVM.
20 seconds.
I got the same thing, you didn't clear your TVM.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. Okay. I might give you two mortgages. Here's a piece of property.
Okay.
Here's a mortgage for 15 years at this rate or 30 years at this rate. Which one's the best deal? What can you tell me about that right off the bat? Just for fun, let's say they both had the same interest rate.
The one
4%.
with the less years,
The one with the less years what?
you're going to have a higher payment, but you're going to benefit.
But you're going to pay it off quicker, and it's going to cost you less money
Less
in
the
interest.
long run.
Sure. So we try to get the shortest term on the loans we can that we can stand the pain. And what do we know about pain? We know most people, when they're planning their finances, can really stand more pain than they know. And so they try to take the easy route, and the banks love you for that, with the mortgage lenders. Okay, anything else? Time value of money. You might want to look over those problems and see how, different ways to twist them, but those are the basics.